What's going on, Sag? Welcome to your weekly forecast for the week of October 12th through the 18th of 2020. Brian here. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Huge week. Got the Mercury retrograde taking place in your 12th house. Biggest new moon I've ever seen in my life. That isn't even an eclipse. Taking place in your 11th house. Opposite Mars retrograde in your 5th house and T-squaring Saturn and Pluto in your 2nd house. Let's take a look at the chart. Got that Mercury retrograde here in your 12th, and it is opposing Uranus in your 6th house. I think this Mercury retrograde is really trying to have you rethink something bigger, connecting to something of the unknown, connecting to spirituality, not getting lost in any sort of escapism, but to escape, I would say, in a very Uranian way, with this opposition to Uranus, to escape in a unique way of, I would say, connecting with spirit in the biggest way possible, and to, kind of break away from a sort of reality that's not of what you want to see, that's not of the dreams you want. This Mercury retrograde is going to come back into your 11th house, so I think there is definitely a lot about people that's going to be brought up with this too, brought to mind. But this is definitely rethinking a lot of the unknown, and it can be a little weird there. But we do have this new moon, intense new moon that's happening on Friday, and it's going to oppose Mars and Eris in your 11th house and your 5th house. I would say this is more of that disconnection. This is more about what you can objectively see within people, within yourself, and how you can step into your own real authentic, unique self in a powerful way. But it has to be of the heart. I think Mars retrograde is trying to really show you how to put your action into what you love, into what makes sense, what's creative, and you have to be able to do that in the most unique, innovative way as possible, and by connecting to people that are of that. We got the North Node in your 7th house. It's all about relationships for you right now, Sag, and it's about the relationships that are of that connection and disconnecting from the ones that aren't of, you could say, this sort of spiritual retrograde that's going on. Whoop, wrong line. Spiritual retrograde that's going on with Uranus, and really connecting to something bigger of source here. And that is the trick, and it's going to, of course, T-square Mars and the new moon are going to T-square Pluto and Saturn in your 2nd house. So I think this is putting a ton of pressure on how you can transform reality in a huge way. Of course, that comes back to Uranus in your 6th house, but this is about the love of yourself and how you're going to create and find that confidence to transform and to move somewhere bigger. The opposite of this, of course, is your 8th house. I mean, this is really breaking free of reality to psychologically go deeper within yourself, to find that confidence, to see the ultimate desires and the ultimate truth, and to disconnect from what isn't of that in a big way with this Pluto square here. I mean, there's a huge transformation of what is actually of value, and you kind of have to, there's a lot of fixed energy here in these houses, and it's you got to be able to let go of what isn't of self-love and what isn't going to connect you to something better in life. And Saturn here almost wants to hold on and restrict you from letting go of what isn't necessarily needing to be valued in your life, that isn't connected to something higher, I would say. But it's also, forcing you to really build, and there's a responsibility here, but it's a responsibility to go deeper than the physical, I would say, in a lot of different ways for you right now, Sag. You do have Venus that's going to sextile Mercury early in the week. It's going to have the moon cross over it too. The value is in what you can build long term, and it's about the people you connect with that are going to take you long term too. And of course, Venus is opposing Neptune this week. So, I mean, it's are you going to emotionally hold yourself back from going somewhere beautiful by not disconnecting from what isn't of the reality you actually want to create, that isn't of love? Are you going to hold on to values that are just not evolving with your soul? I think there's big questions to ask, and It really is about the people in your life right now. It's about the spiritual connection in your life right now. And it's about not blocking yourself from your intuition either, and not blocking yourself from spirit. Which, I mean, Neptune in the fourth is like that deep emotional connection to something much, much bigger. But in this opposition, it can feel like, especially starting to square the nodes here, it can feel like it's just out of this world, or not real, or we're not emotionally connected. But it's what you are emotionally connected to that's going to have the ultimate value. And of course, these the node's also going to trine this new moon a little bit. So, the destiny is in the relationships that are of the ultimate connection with your values, with something bigger. And that's going to take you somewhere amazing, but Sages are like my least favorite fans right now. I got a lot of thumbs downs on last week's video. So hopefully you guys like this one more if you came back to watch. Card of the week is the Knight of Cups. Yeah, you got to be curious to really dig deep emotionally and not block yourself from what you want. You have to be courageous to dive in and disconnect from the emotions that aren't of the greater truth in life and aren't of the identity you want in life, to connect to the ones that are, and you can't be scared to do it. You just got to go in fearless of what the emotions could bring. Pluto is courage in that second house. You have to have the courage to transform your values into something more aligned with your desires of your deep, deep, intense truths. I love you very much, Sag. I will catch you next week. Peace.